Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 86 Earth Escape, the technique of Earth House. Let me show it to you. Kushina's habit of being showy was committed, so she directly demonstrated elementalization to Tsunade. Tsunade was indeed shocked. This looks like the hydration technique of the ghost lamp family, but without the shortcomings of hydration technique. This technique is almost invincible. It's still a long way from being invincible. Xianchen shook his head and said, whether it's armed, domineering, or yin-yang escape, you can attack the entity. As long as there is enough water, you can still extinguish the magma. Chen, this guy demolished me, and I'll kill you. Duke Sanai bit on Xianchen's arm. Xianchen was embarrassed. He didn't know if Duke Sanai belonged to a dog. Anyway, it was not the first time that she had bitten herself. Hurry up, or I'll use an iron block, and your teeth won't be able to be saved by then. Kushina bit Xianchen and stared at him with no intention of letting go. Xianchen was helpless. He just threatened him just now. It was impossible to really break Kushina's teeth. He could only let Kushina bite, and Kushina wouldn't force it anyway. Seeing the 10 fights between Xianchen and Kushina, Tsunade felt a little better. Mikoto took Xionen's hand and smiled at the fight between the two of them. This was not the first time, and Mikoto was used to it. By the way, where do we live? Do we also live in that kind of military tent? Kushina let go. Let me build a house. Since you set the house on fire, I have started to study the art of building a house, and now I have achieved results. Xianchen said confidently. To done Earth House technique. Xianchen directly played a handsome one-handed seal, and a dirt house rose from the ground, except that it looked a little ugly. Everything else was fine. This is too ugly. I feel a little ashamed to live in such a house. Kushina complained. I feel okay. There's nothing wrong with being boxy. Xianchen thought it was okay. He was not an architect, but a ninja, so naturally he wouldn't pursue aesthetics. I didn't expect you to make a seal with one hand, Chen, Tsunade said in surprise. What's the matter? Mikoto can also make a seal with one hand. It's easy to learn. Xianchen said proudly. Mikoto can do that too? Tsunade was even more surprised. Not many people can make a seal with one hand. Yeah, Chen taught me. Mikoto nodded and said, don't worry about this, let's go in and have a look. In fact, this is also a ninjutsu to trap the enemy. As long as the door and windows are removed, it will become a dungeon. Pushing open the rock door and walking in, it was empty and filled with the smell of earth. Can people really live here? Xianchen's face was a little embarrassed, and the smell of soil was a little heavy. This will be fine in a few days, and overall it's not bad. Xianchen said stubbornly. Mikoto, are you right? Xianchen looked at Mikoto. Mikoto nodded gently and said, it's not bad. It should be very suitable for raising pigs. Xianchen's face changed, and he said dejectedly, if I have a wooden tunnel, I will build a house with natural aura for you in minutes. Only my grandfather owns Mudun, so don't think about it. Tsunade couldn't help but be shocked. Xianchen smiled without saying a word. He now meets all the cultivation conditions for Mudun, but Xianchen does not intend to work Mudun. It's not that Xianchen doesn't look down on Mudun. Mudun, the blood that is so strong that it explodes, is naturally jealous, but Xianchen doesn't need to spend time cultivating at all. Previously, Xianchen got a blood snares fusion scroll. As long as he reaches the 6th level, Xianchen can have the blood snares, and he can easily use any escape technique at that time. The 7 types of chakra nature changes are merged, and in theory, all escaping techniques can be used. So Xianchen doesn't want to waste time on this. He has a lot of abilities. Mudun can only be said to be the icing on the cake. It is obviously not worth it to waste time cultivating Mudun now. I think it's better to live in a tent. You should live in this house yourself, Kushina said. What's wrong with this house? This isn't a grade Earth escape ninjutsu, just a general grade ninjutsu. Don't even think about breaking this house. It's durable and safe. Xianchen still insisted that he built it himself. The house is the best. Actually, you can live here. You can bake it with fire and blow it with the wind, so there will be no earthy smell. Mikoto said with a smile. I feel fine. Tsunade nodded. Afterwards, Mikoto used the technique of fireball to bake it, and then Kushina used the wind escape and breakthrough to blow the smell away. There was no unpleasant earthy smell, and it felt okay after Mikoto arranged it again, except for the appearance of the house. It was no different from being at home. I really don't know if you came to the battlefield to enjoy life. It looks very good. I'll move over in a while, Tsunade said. In fact, she was speechless. Xianchen and the others were like they were on vacation, and they didn't take the war seriously at all. After remodeling the house, Xianchen went to practice the immortal mode, and Mikoto cooked. Xianchen and the others were not used to cold dry food, and they didn't want to eat the military ration that was distributed. It smells so good. I haven't smelled this fragrance for a long time. The food here can only satisfy hunger at best, and it has no taste at all. Tsunade smelled the fragrance of the stir-fried vegetables, and his saliva was about to flow out. I didn't see you lose weight, Sister Tsunade. Kushina stared at Tsunade's chest with envy and jealousy. Her poached eggs couldn't compare to Tsunade's cow. What Kushina didn't know was that when Tsunade was at Kushina's age, she wasn't as good as Kushina. After Mikoto made the meal, Xianchen also stopped cultivating, and then pulled Xiaonan, who was quietly watching him, to eat together. Xiaonan, you are still young, you need to eat more, you look so thin. Jixinai gave Xiaonan a piece of meat. Thank you, Sister Jixinai. Xiaonan picked up the meat and put it in his mouth. These days are the happiest days Xiaonan has ever lived. Some people pamper and eat. When I was wandering, I would be thankful to have a meal for 2 or 3 days. Boom. 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 A knock on the door made Xianchen, who was eating happily, unhappy. Who is it? It's really annoying to knock on the door when people are eating, Kushina said with a pouted mouth. I'll go take a look. Xianchen held down Mikoto, who wanted to get up, then got up and pushed open the door. Who are you? If you have something to say, don't disturb the peace. Xianchen leaned against the door and said lightly, who built this house? Quickly demolish it. It was a middle-aged ninja who spoke. Captain, why do you talk to him so much? Just dismantle it for him, said a young man behind the middle-aged ninja. Hey, I said, does this house get in your way? Why do you say it's going to be demolished? Xianchen said angrily. The house he built will be demolished when he comes up. Could it be that his house is still illegally built? Chapter 87. Orochimaru's visit. The entire station is using tents, but you are building a house. It is your fault that the enemy finds out. The young ninja pointed at Xianchen and said, I don't like being pointed at. Xianchen looked at the young ninja, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. What if it's just pointing at you? You are a brat who went to the battlefield to die. So arrogant, the young ninja said disdainfully. Snapped. Xianchen slapped him, and the young ninja was swept away by more than 10 meters. All his teeth were lost, and his face was swollen. It's really a face to you. If you want to pretend to be forceful in front of me, you can. But you have to show the strength of pretending to be forceful, or I'll just call you an idiot. Believe it or not. I don't understand. This camp is so big. Are the surrounding tents inconspicuous? You think the enemy is blind? You can only see my house. It's really nothing to do. Xianchen didn't know if these guys had enough to eat, and they had nothing to do with their own business. What do you mean? You actually attacked the members of my team. Could it be the spies of the enemy country? The middle-aged ninja, who seemed to be a bit simple and honest, came up and charged Xianchen with a big crime. Xianchen looked at the other party and finally knew what it meant to be Mian Shanxin Hai. I can see it clearly. You are here to find fault. Yes, you're awesome. Spies, right? I think you are very suitable to be spies. Under the control of Xianchen, they shouted the slogans of Long Live Sand Ninja Village, Meritorious Service for Yanin Village, and Yanin Village, swept all the enemies and other messy slogans, and then attacked the surrounding tents. Unpredictable, they burned several tents, and even attacked and killed several ninjas, and finally died in battles. Xianchen smiled coldly, then turned back to the house. What happened? Tsunade asked curiously. A few guys are just looking for trouble. They should be ordered by others, but I don't know who ordered them. Xianchen didn't believe that the other party was asking for trouble for no reason. If they were carrying out some secret mission, it would be understandable for the other party to find him because of the house. However, this is a battlefield, and the location of Konoha camp is clearly in front of others, so there are still people looking for trouble, and someone must be instructing. Could it be that the old man from the 3rd generation instigated? You offended him before. It must be him. You know that the old man is not a good thing. Jixinai said angrily. It shouldn't be the 3rd generation. The 3rd generation can only have no lower limit when they are with Danzo. At other times, it's okay. This kind of thing shouldn't be done by the 3rd generation. It should be done by people from Danzo. Xianchen thought about it and said, Although Sarutobi hidden is not a good thing, but such a limitless thing should not be instructed by him. Sarutobi hidden is not shameless to this level. Don't care who ordered it, there's no need to know so much. It's important to eat. Xianchen buried his head in eating. He was not interested in who ordered it. If he really knew it, he would have used his Tensagon to check the memories in their minds. You eat a little less. We don't eat as much as you add up. Leave us a little. Tsunade said dissatisfied. It's all right, I can do more if it's not enough. Mikoto said softly. After the meal, Tsunade went to move things, and she was going to live here. Mikoto and Kushina went to help, and even Xiaonan went with her. Xianchen was sitting in the room in a daze. When there was a knock on the door, Xianchen looked at the door suspiciously. Why is he here? Xianchen was a little puzzled, but still got up and opened the door. Chen Jun, long time no see. Orochimaru looked at Xianchen with a smile. Xianchen pouted and went to the 3 treasures hall without incident. With this smile on his face, he definitely had something to look for himself. Come in. Xianchen invited Orochimaru in. Chen Jun, you really enjoy it? Orochimaru looked at it and said, look at what you said, Uncle Snake. Isn't life in this world just for enjoyment? I don't know what Uncle Snake is looking for me. Just say it. Xianchen looked at Orochimaru and asked. Hearing Uncle Snake's name, the corner of Orochimaru's mouth twitched, and then he didn't beat around the bush, and he wasn't one to beat around the bush either. The illusion of Danzo before was released by Chen Jun, right? Yes, I did release it. There is no need to hide Orochimaru. Xianchen knows him. He will never say it, and even if he does, Xianchen doesn't care. Strength decides everything. Orochimaru was stunned. He didn't expect Xianchen to admit it directly. Chen Jun is an interesting person, Orochimaru said, licking the corner of his mouth. Xianchen feels a little chilly. Orochimaru, this pervert, doesn't have any perverted hobbies. Resisting the idea of smearing his face with spiral pills, Xianchen said angrily, hurry up and get down to business, or I'll see off the guest. Chen Jun is really impatient, Orochimaru said with a smile. Xianchen's face was completely darkened, and now Xianchen really wanted to beat him up, and what he said was too ambiguous. Seeing that Xianchen's face was extremely dark, Orochimaru also talked about the business. I don't know if Chen Jun's illusion is pupil or ninjutsu, Orochimaru asked. Xianchen didn't have a seal before, but he just glanced at Danzo and let Danzo fall into illusion, so Orochimaru was a little uncertain. Oh? I don't even have white A's. Why do you think I'm using the pupil technique? Orochimaru smiled without saying a word. His ability to perceive danger was one of the best. When facing Xianchen's eyes, he could feel the extreme danger. Therefore, Orochimaru is sure that Xianchen's eyes are definitely not ordinary, and they are definitely not comparable to white eyes. Seeing that Orochimaru didn't say anything, Xianchen didn't ask any more. I'm not using pupil technique, but it can also be used as pupil technique. Orochimaru smiled when he heard it. Chen Jun, I wonder if we can make a deal? You want this illusion? That's right. Chen Jun's illusion is definitely the strongest illusion I have ever seen. Orochimaru's face was frantic. Xianchen smiled. Illusion terrorist reincarnation is an illusion created by Xianchen based on the ability of the forbidden technique of Izanami and the illusion of reading, which took a long time to create. It can be compared to the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye illusion of reading the moon. If you want to get out of the illusion of terrifying reincarnation, you must forcibly break the illusion space with mental power, otherwise you will never be able to escape. Even if you forcibly break the illusion of terrifying reincarnation, you must pay the price of mental damage. Unless your mental power is 10 times that of the caster, you will not be damaged. If you can't break this illusion, you will be waiting for the spiritual power to be eaten away, and finally the soul will be completely destroyed. In the face of this illusion, it is best to forcibly break the illusion space at the beginning, so as to minimize the damage. In terms of power, it is definitely one of the best among illusions. Chapter 88 Transaction with Orochimaru. Since it's a deal, then I also want to see what deal you get. You can't just take a piece of junk and just want my powerful illusion. Xianchen looked at Orochimaru. Seeing that Xianchen did not refuse, Orochimaru was overjoyed. As long as he did not refuse, it would be easy to do. If Xianchen refused directly, he would have a headache. I don't know what Chen Jun needs. Just call me Chen. Chen Jun. Chen Jun's name. I'm very awkward. You show your sincerity first. I'll take a look at it first. Xianchen knows that Orochimaru has many forbidden techniques of Konoha, which are all stored in the Book of Seals, and ordinary people have no way to access them. Even Xianchen wanted to study some of the forbidden techniques, such as the technique of reincarnation from dirty soil. Orochimaru had a headache and began to think silently. Although there are a lot of ninjutsu in his hands, most of them are ordinary ninjutsu, and it is estimated that Xianchen does not like it. After thinking about it, Orochimaru took out a scroll, and said, it records the space ninjutsu Flying Thunder God developed by the second Hokage, as well as the psychic reincarnation, and the psychic five-fold washing of the first Hokage. The door, I don't know if it's possible. Xianchen was stunned. He didn't expect Orochimaru to give so much money. All of them were S-rank ninjutsu. In fact, Orochimaru is not stupid. The ninjutsu he gave to 860 can't be practiced by ordinary people. For example, the space ninjutsu of Flying Thunder God, Orochimaru can't practice it, and it is waste to keep it. The reincarnation of the dirty earth, Orochimaru, is very interested, but the cultivation is too difficult. So far Orochimaru has no clue. And the 5-layer Rashomon defense psychic technique consumes too much chakra, and Orochimaru can also channel the 3rd-layer Rashomon, which is equivalent to a level ninjutsu, and it is not distressing to exchange it. I didn't expect you to be very generous, Uncle Snake, so I won't come here for these imaginary things. This is the practice scroll of illusion and horror reincarnation. Orochimaru has come up with so many powerful ninjutsu, there is no reason for Xianchen to disagree. After Orochimaru took the training scroll of terrorist reincarnation, he quickly opened it to check. After checking it, Orochimaru knew it was true. Chen, you are really a genius. You have developed such a powerful illusion, but you can take it out so easily. So you are not afraid that someone will use this illusion to deal with you? Orochimaru said with a smile. Getting what he wanted, Orochimaru was very happy. Hey Tilda, since I dare to trade, I naturally won't be afraid. Xianchen gave Orochimaru a meaningful look. The ability of illusion and terrifying reincarnation also varies from person to person. The stronger the mental power, the stronger it will be when used. Moreover, There is no way to solve the technique that Rixianchin himself has researched. More importantly, Rixianchin has now developed a stronger illusion. On the basis of the terrifying reincarnation, Rixianchin's improvement has developed a stronger illusion. Infinite reincarnation. Illusion. Infinite reincarnation is basically no solution, unless someone's mental power is 10 times stronger than Rixianchin, or they can only wait to die in the illusion space. It is an upgraded version of illusion and terrorist reincarnation, a super S-level ultimate mystery illusion, and only infinite moon reading can be compared with other gods. Thank you, Chen. I won't bother you anymore. I'll say goodbye. After the goal was achieved, Orochimaru didn't want to stay any longer. He wanted to go back and study this illusion. We are just taking what we need. There is no need to thank me. We may have opportunities to trade in the future. Rixianchin shook his head and said, then look forward to the next transaction with you. Orochimaru looked back at Rixianchin and left. As soon as Orochimaru went out, he met Tsunade and the others. Orochimaru, why are you here? Tsunade asked suspiciously. It turned out to be Tsunade. I have a small matter with Chen Shun. Now that I have completed it, I will leave. Orochimaru left in a hurry. He couldn't wait to study the illusion that he exchanged with Rixianchin. It's really strange, Tsunade murmured, then walked into the room, looked at Rixianchin and asked, what is Orochimaru looking for from you? Exchange with me for ninjutsu. Rixianchin fiddled with a ninjutsu scroll in his hand. What kind of ninjutsu? Let me see. Tsunade reached out and took it, and was stunned. These are all forbidden techniques. Even if Orochimaru is a disciple of the third generation, he can't get it, right? Tsunade said in astonishment. This is the ninjutsu of the Thousand Hands family. You should have it in the Thousand Hands family too. Only the ninjutsu left by grandfather. All the others have been written into the Book of Seals by the second grandfather. Even the Kainzu clan cannot check it without authorization. Tsunade shook his head. The second-generation Hokage is really pitiful. It doesn't leave the Kainzu family at all. It seems that the decline of the Kainzu family is not without reason. Rixianchin complained. Okay, after all, it's my second grandfather. We're not qualified to discuss. Let's rest early. We may go to the battlefield tomorrow. Tsunade handed the scroll to Rixianchin and said. Rixianchin put away the scroll and nodded. The night was silent, and in the early morning of the next day, a commotion came, causing Rixianchin and the others to wake up. What's the matter? Is there a fight? Rixianchin rubbed his eyes, ready to go out to have a look. Don't look at it. There should be a sneak attack by an enemy team. It's not a big deal. Just get used to it. Tsunade said with a yawn. Mikoto, let's cook. Only when you're full will you have the strength to fight. Tsunade sat at the table carelessly, not at all surprised by the hustle and bustle. Obviously she was used to it. After breakfast, someone came to tell them to gather. When Rixianchin and the others arrived, the troops had already assembled. I don't know if it was because Rixianchin offended Sarutobi Hizen. Rixianchin, who thought he would be assigned to the logistics department, was directly incorporated into the frontal combat unit. It doesn't matter if Rixianchin arrives, anyway. He is strong and willful. Mikoto and Kushina were assigned to the logistics department, and Rixianchin gave Xiaonan to the two of them. Although Rixianchin took Xiaonan to the battlefield, it would not have any effect, but after thinking about it, Rixianchin decided not to take Xiaonan anymore. The scene of the battlefield was too bloody. With the strength of Mikoto and Kushina, Rixianchin is also assured, there is absolutely no problem in protecting Xiaonan. Little devil, this is the first time you experience such a scene. Will you be scared to pee your pants? Zilai also came over and put his arms around Rixianchin's neck. No, in fact, I'm looking forward to such a scene. The battlefield is the romance of a man, Rixianchin said lightly, holding the flowing blade in front of his chest. Just a kid. What kind of man? But you still like to use a knife. Zilai also pointed at Rixianchin's flowing blade. My swordsmanship is very strong. It's no problem to kill you Uncle Toad with one knife. Do you want to try it? Rixianchin smiled and looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya's face turned green, and then he ignored this unlovable kid. Chapter 89, The Throbbing of the Blade Like Fire. Little devil, if you want to learn swordsmanship, you can learn from Tsukumo-senpai. After a while, Jiraiya also came over again. Take Tsukumo. Hyuga Tatsu followed Jiraiya's gaze and looked at a ninja with a serious face, silver white long hair, and a ponytail not far away. In Hyuga Tatsu's eyes, Take Tsukumo is indeed a tragedy, but Hyuga Tatsu doesn't pity him. Suicide because of other people's accusations, the dead thieves is useless. Anyway, Rixianchin looks down on this kind of person. If you die, you will die vigorously, and as a result, your trademark's nest committed suicide at home. Not even the turtle grandson into Ansang. Hey, look at you, you seem to be very disdainful of him. You are too arrogant. Do you know that Tsukumo-senpai is the second best master of Konoha, and his swordsmanship makes the three ninjas of the ninja village tremble? The strength is second only to Hokage. Jiraiya is also dissatisfied with Hyuga Tatsu's disdainful eyes. Take Tsukumo is his idol. Stop talking nonsense, we're leaving. Rixianchin pushed Zilai away. The little devil now is really not cute. Zilai also said depressedly. On the battlefield, The ninjas of Konoha village faced off against the ninjas of Your Ninja village, Sand Ninja village and Yan Ninja village. Except for the slight wind, the entire battlefield was extremely quiet. Before the two sides fought, the momentum had already collided, sweeping the dust on the ground. Why did you start a war and invade our country of fire? Hiruzen Sarutobi stood at the front and asked angrily. Ha ha ha. Sarutobi-san, you are also qualified to say this. If you hadn't invaded my country of rain first, how could my Uran village join the war? Sanjay Hanzo laughed, feeling Sarutobi Hiro shameless. Sarutobi Hibiki was speechless. There is no right or wrong in the war, it's just for their own interests. No need to say more, let's go to war, said Oyamu, the red-nosed little old man. At the beginning, he and his teacher were bullied by Madara Uchiha and humiliated by being pressed to the ground, which made Onogi jealous of Konoha. There is no way, I can't beat Madara Uchiha. Madara Uchiha is already dead, and I can only count hatred on Konoha. There is a feud between Yanin village and Konoha village. This can't blame Yanin village for being stingy, whoever came to form an alliance, but the alliance was not formed, and he was hanged and beaten and humiliated. Anyone would hate it. This can only be blamed on their bad luck. When they met a domineering guy like Madara Uchiha, if they saw Senju Hashima, it might be a different situation. Before Konoha was beaten and retreated, his momentum was extremely low, and now the Hokage of Sarutobi Hizen is going into battle in person. Konoha's momentum has increased a lot, but the momentum on the opposite side is even better, and everyone has incomparable confidence, because they are more numerous than Konoha. There are more than 7,000 ninjas in Konoha, while the Three Kingdoms Alliance has more than 15,000 ninjas, twice as many as Konoha ninjas. Sarutobi Hizen's eyes narrowed, and then he shouted, Fire Ninja releases fire, and Wind Ninja follows, releases wind, and uses combination ninjutsu. Under the order of Sarutobi Hizen, fire and wind came out together, forming a huge torrent of flames, like the fire of a sea of flames, charging towards the opposite side. It's despicable. The ninjas of Yanin village released the water escape for me to resist the flames. Hanzo roared. The ninjas of Rock Ninja village obeyed the order and used the earth escape and the earth flow wall. Onogi roared along. As for Sand Ninja village, those who specialize in wind escape don't need to join in the fun. Xiangchen, who saw this scene for the first time, smashed his tongue. It was really spectacular. This kind of scene where thousands of ninjas use ninjutsu together is indeed grand, and the average shadow level will definitely kneel in the face of such an attack. How about it? See it. Don't be arrogant. In the future, Tsunade said behind Xiangchen. Cut. I didn't blow it. I can solve more than half of these ninjas with one move. Xiangchen pouted in disdain. Whether it is Bakikangu, Ying, or Zhao Shenliu Tanzing, they can sweep the audience. If you use Gold Wheel Reincarnation Blast or Silver Wheel Reincarnation Blast, you can scare them silly. Xiangchen does not lack the skills of clearing soldiers. This joint ninjutsu looks powerful, but it is not powerful enough. Even if the 3 generations of Ryukage come to resist these attacks, they will not be injured, not to mention the more abnormal Xiangchen. Even if he resists an attack of this level, Xiangchen will not be injured. Let me do it for them too. Ever since I got Liuran Uohuo, I've never seen blood. Xiangchen said lightly after pulling out Liuran Uohuo. Xiangchen's hand swung the blade Uohuo towards the coalition forces in Sanin village, and the huge sword pressure, with lightning speed, cut open the other side's wall of earth flowing in thousands of miles. As long as the ninjas are on this straight line, they are divided into 2 halves. Gudong. The ninja who saw this sword pressure swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva. All of them were shocked. What a strong swordsmanship. I'm not as good as me. Hatake Tsukumo looked at the powerful sword pressure and thought he was not as good. This kid is actually so strong. I thought he was pretending to use the knife. Zai also looked at Xiangchen in shock. There was a glint in Orochimaru's eyes, and it was not too surprising. When he saw Xiangchen for the first time, he knew that Xiangchen was not simple, and the sense of snakes was very keen. Sarutobi Hizen looked at this scene with a slightly ugly expression. If someone else showed this kind of strength, at this critical juncture of Konoha, Sarutobi Hizen would definitely be very happy, but the other party was Xiangchen. Through the understanding of the past few days, Sarutobi Hizen has a general understanding that Xiangchen does not have much sense of belonging to Konoha village. Otherwise, he wouldn't even fight against his own Hokage. Sarutobi Hizen has already defined Hyuga Tatsu as a factor of instability, otherwise he would not have been incorporated into the frontal combat unit. It was Sarutobi Hizen who wanted to use the enemy's hand to get rid of the unsettling factor of Hyuga Tatsu. The powerful strength displayed by Xiangchen now makes Sarutobi Hizen even more dignified. With the previous illusions and the current swordsmanship, Xiangchen has risen to the point where Sarutobi Hizen cannot ignore. Xiangchen's face showed joy, not because of the power of this knife, but because he felt that Liu Renyu, who had never moved, was shaking and excited. What's wrong? Tsunade asked, looking at the excited Xiangchen. Forcefully suppressing the excitement in his heart, Xiangchen shook his head and said, it's nothing. While stroking the blade, The flowing blade that has been unable to resolve it is like fire, and now there is finally movement, which is a good phenomenon. Could it be that Liu Renyu needs to kill to solve it? Xianchen wondered in his heart. Chapter 90. Killing is like mowing the grass. No matter what, you have to try it. Xianchen held the flow blade Huo, and his eyes flashed with cold light. Looking at the enemy on the opposite side, Xianchen's eyes became cold and ruthless. As long as Liu Renyu could solve it, so what if he killed them all? The opposite is a group of unarmed civilians. In order to try to understand, Xianchen can slaughter them, not to mention that the opposite is full of sinful ninjas. There is no good person who becomes a ninja, although it seems to be very arbitrary, knocking down a group of people with one shot. It is true. There is no absolute good person in this world, let alone a ninja who lives by killing, which is equivalent to the killer profession. What's more, in Xianchen's eyes, there is no difference between good people and bad people. There are only two kinds of people in his eyes. One is his own and the other is others. Looking at the group of people who were still testing the Q-Wu Shuriken, Xianchen looked anxious and wanted to rush up directly. It has been half an hour since the start of the war, but the total number of people killed on both sides will not exceed 3 digits. Is this the cruelty of the battlefield? I don't think it's as fun as playing a house, Xianchen complained. Now it's just a test, consuming the opponent's strength, and if you really fight, you will know the cruelty of the battlefield. Tsunade said softly. Don't stalemate with them. Our ninjas are more than twice as many as Konoha, just kill them. 3 generations of Kazekage suggested. Okay, I don't have an opinion. Sanjiao Hanzo nodded. This stalemate really doesn't make sense, and they can't take much advantage. Then charge, this time directly defeat them. 3 generations of Tsuchikage Onoki also did not object to the proposal of 3 generations of Kazekage. The whole army is ready, throw another round of kunai, let's charge. Don't be stingy with a detonating talisman in our hands. All the kunai have detonating talismans on them. 3 generations of Kazekage shouted. He knew that detonating talismans were expensive, several thousand plus per piece, but wars were all about money, and now was not the time to be stingy. There is a detonating talisman, be careful, use the earth escape to resist. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't care about so much, and use the earth escape with all his strength. The power of the detonating talisman is no less than that of ninjutsu, especially if there are so many detonating talismans, the power is even greater. It's really stupid on the other side. I don't hide this explosive talisman. It's just so brightly hanging on the iron ring of kunai. I'm afraid others won't see it, right? Xianchen said frantically. There's really no way not to complain. You hang on it brightly. It's like saying directly to the enemy, I'm going to use the detonating talisman. You're ready. After throwing the kunai and detonating talismans, Sandai Kazekage, Sandai Tsuchikage, and Sanshou Hanzo immediately rushed up. After resisting the bombing of the detonating talisman, Sanshou Hanzo and the others were already close at hand, and Sarutobi Hiruzen had no time to say anything. He channeled the ape demon, and then greeted Sanshou Hanzo and Onogi. Hatake Tsukumo holds the short sword White Fang and is with the 3 generations of Kazekage. Tsunade also jumped to Michio. Jirai also blocked Zhang. Orochimaru and Tsuchikage were facing each other, resisting the opponent's shadow-level combat power. However, Jiraiya and Orochimaru were still a little reluctant, especially Jiraiya, who was almost beaten, and Jiraiya at this time was not as strong as before. Sarutobi Hizen faced off against the demigod Yamagata Hanzo and Onogi, and he was not feeling well now, so he could only barely resist the offensive of the two. If faced with a person, Sarutobi Hidden Sword will definitely be easy. The current Sarutobi Hidden Sword is still very strong, and the strength of the peak of the shadow level is not a joke. But it is very reluctant to fight against 2 peaks of the shadow level by one person. Originally, in the plan of Hiruzen Sarutobi, Danzo helped him share the burden, but Danzo had been brought down by Xianchen, making Hiruzen Sarutobi very passive. Glancing at the battle situation of the top combat power, Xianchen looked at the 3 Kingdom allied forces ahead with a bloodthirsty smile on his face. Without using any other abilities, just relying on physical skills and swordsmanship, Xianchen rushed into the crowd, Hanmang flashed, and he chopped 5 lower ninja cannon fodder to death with one knife. Then it turns into a lightning bolt to shuttle through the battlefield, and every time you swing the knife, 1 or more lives will be taken away. With the continuous killing and the constant swinging of the knife, Xianchen felt that he and Liu Jian were like fire, as if they were about to merge into one. The extreme fiery aura continued to wrap around Liu Renyu and Xianchen's bodies. This feeling. Do you want to open the beginning of the solution to the fire? Feeling the breath of the fire, Xianchen appeared a little stunned. You devil, give me death. A Chunin from Iwa Ninja village, looking at Xianchen who stopped the killing, he stabbed him with Kunwu towards Xianchen. Xianchen suddenly came back to his senses, looked at him indifferently, and then chopped off his head with a knife, wanting to take the opportunity to sneak attack on him. But there is no such thing. Hurry up and stop him. An elite Chunin roared. In just a few minutes, more than 100 people have died in Xianchen's hands. If he is allowed to kill like this, no matter how many of them, they will not be enough for Xianchen to kill. This is really killing people like mowing the grass. As long as the knife is swung, a head will fly into the sky. Even if Xianchen's face is immature, no one dares to underestimate him. On the battlefield, everything is based on strength, not age. 5 Shangren, an elite Shangren rushed towards Xianchen, trying to kill Xianchen. At such a young age, he was already so strong. If he was allowed to grow up, he would not know how strong he would be. A threat. Looking for death, slashing. Xianchen swung his sword to press. 5 heads and 1 arm flew up. 5 Johns were dead, and the elite Jonin lost an arm even though he escaped. Xianchen swung the sword too fast. Even this elite Jonin, relying on a sense of crisis in his heart, avoided in advance to save his life. After the sword was pressed to kill 5 people, the castration continued unabated, and those who stood in the way, whether it was Rain Ninja, Rock Ninja, Sand Ninja, or Konoha's Ninja, were all cut into 2 pieces. It cannot be said that Xianchen deliberately killed his teammates, only that swords do not have long eyes. This is also the reason why few people use large-scale ninjutsu on a battlefield, because it hurts the enemy and hurts themselves. On the battlefield, the 2 sides are entangled, and there is no way to avoid it, so as long as it is not the kind of unscrupulous person, no 2.0 will choose to use a wide range of ninjutsu. However, Xianchen doesn't care so much. He is a man who will do anything. If you block my attack route, you can only say that your life is not good. Are you the one who swung that knife before? The broken arm elite Kamishin asked in horror. Because they used ninjutsu to resist Konoha's offensive, they blocked their sight, and they didn't know who made the first knife. In fact, they thought in their hearts that the knife just now was cut by Konoha Shirogan Hatake Tsukumo. After all, after these days of fighting, they also realized the strength of Hatake Tsukumo. Although the 2 sides were hostile ninjas, it did not affect their admiration for Hatake Tsukumo's strength. It never occurred to me that the sword energy that smashed their defenses before was released by this kid, Xianchen. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.